Hey everybody, good morning. Happy Tuesday. It is Hear Your True Tuesday day here with Leslie Pogue, your happy chick. I am talking to you today about the bugaboo of menopause and puberty. So I was watching the news one day, and it's been a while, so forgive me. I gotta wet my palate all of a sudden. I'm dry. So I was watching a news article one day and it was talking about menopause and puberty. And a light bulb went off because while I'm going through menopause, I can only imagine what it must be like for people who had children later in their late 30s, who are also, and people, men, women, everybody in the house really, that has both menopause and puberty happening at the same time. Because that is a Molotov cocktail of hormones and emotions and just everything going off at the same time. And it's so random. And something that, again, a lot of people don't talk about is perimenopause. Once you hit menopause, things, while your hormones are kind of crazy, and I don't like using that word, so let me rephrase that. Your hormones are sporadic, but perimenopause is way more volatile because you don't know. And then it also doesn't last the same amount of time. Once you hit menopause, it might be uncomfortable, but you kind of start to get the rhythms of what trigger different things, and it's different for everybody. I'll say for me, when I have alcohol or sugar, I know shortly after that I'm going to have a hot flash. Even if I'm fine, if I haven't had a hot flash in a month, if I have any level of alcohol, any kind of sugar, whoosh, it's just happening. And the same with, we're in the middle of winter and I have run cold my whole life. I still do, but I need a fan at night when I sleep so that I don't have night sweats. So once you get into menopause, you start to understand what you need and the rhythms and different things, not to mention however you decide to treat it. So if you are the kind of person that is using holistic medication, if your doctor has prescribed something, you also kind of know what's going on. Perimenopause, however, now that is a different beast because it is really sporadic. Actually, that's the word really I need to use for perimenopause because things don't last. You might start to have hot flashes, you might be emotional, you might feel tired all the time. I remember I was working at a job that I wasn't really a fan of, and it really hit me that I was entering into this because there was a day where this person that I really didn't like all that much. I got along with him, but he just drove me insane. And he was talking to me one day, and I literally, in my mind's eye, envisioned grabbing him by the neck and just shaking him and then hurling him across the room. It even scared me because I could feel that rage out of nowhere because he actually wasn't bothering me in that moment, but just this heat of rage just built up in me all of a sudden, and all I wanted to do was inflict bodily harm on this person. I didn't, for the record, and I didn't tell anybody about that either. This is the first time I'm sharing it with the world. But these are the things that are happening. I remember another time where I was sitting somewhere and I wanted, again, it's always me throwing something. I wanted to grab a lamp and just hurl it across the room because I just felt this thrust of rage, and I didn't understand where it came from. So those were the first signs for me that, hey, something's off. I'm not a violent person, but all of a sudden I want to inflict bodily harm and just rage on the world. So what's going on? Perimenopause is that first step, so it could scare you. And that's when it's kind of weird. So when all these emotions are going on, it could be troublesome in the household. So I came across an article in the Seattle Times by Kristen Tollotson, and she mentioned, I didn't pull out the whole article, but one thing I wanted to share is some of the symptoms. And she mentions the symptoms common to both cycles, which we all know, of hormonal upheaval, on top of changing bodies, personalities, and emotions, because that is also what happens with both, is that it includes more susceptibility to depression, and the need for more sleep, acne problems, and greater appetite. And this is true for both. You've seen menopausal acne, we've heard about that. Both are just tired all the time and want to sleep more. There's emotional eating that happens. Our bodies are changing. Our weight is fluctuating. Our emotions are going out of control. So when both are happening at the same time, what you want to do, one, is recognize it, right? Let's name it. Let's call it what it is. Our kids are going through kids are going through puberty. I'm going through menopause. Men have their own version of menopause too, so you never know what's going on in that house. So if you're noticing that emotions are riding high all of a sudden, or just, you're just noticing that it's a little more volatile in the household, this is something that you might want to ask yourself, hey, could this possibly be going on? And think about talking to your doctors, getting in therapy together, or even just if you are a really good communicating family, sit down and talk about, what you're feeling, what's going on, and what's happening, because it makes sense. Like I said, when I saw the news article or when I saw the news story, I was like, wow, that is true. That is something we need to be talking about. So I wanted to share that with my audience. And again, I highly recommend that each individual does their own individual work, right? So if you're going through a change as a menopausal woman, then there's some internal stuff that's happening. I never expected to miss having a period every month. I never thought I'd be emotional about it. But the moment and menopause happens, it's official. You're officially in menopause if you have not had a menstrual cycle for a full year. Like in perimenopause, it'll come, you might have one, several months might go by, and you might not have another one. That's still not it. It's not until you have had one full, complete year of no menstrual cycle. So once that happens, that's it. And it was extremely emotional for me, which I really was not expecting. So keep that in mind. There are going to be different things that affect different people in different ways. You have your children who are also going through puberty. So there's body image issues. There is acne. There is weight gain and loss. There's sadness and emotions that are going on that are unexplainable. There's who knows what's going on in their life at school and in the world. So all of these different things you have to think about when you are going through menopause and puberty, and think about that for your family. Have a conversation with them. Make sure that you do a lot of self-care for each other. And I know you guys, I'm sure you can hear the buzzing. It's driving me crazy. You can do self-care for each other and just make sure that you are staying on top of each other as far as communication. That is the biggest thing, is making sure that you are talking to one another. Make sure that you keep the lines of communication open for the men in the house as well as the women in the house that are going through this, because puberty is different. Puberty, you got your boys and your girls going through that. So make sure that you all are talking. And if you don't feel like you have a strong enough knit, or if it's culturally not conducive to have those conversations, see if you can seek out a therapist, a mentor, or someone that can help walk you through some of the emotions and some of the changes that are naturally going on. Because this is natural. This is what's supposed to happen, right? This is how our bodies are wired. So this is not anything out of the ordinary. Just make sure that you're approaching it positively, not negatively. No one's going crazy. No one's losing their mind. No one's a lunatic. No one's lazy. Let's take some of the negative verbiage out of all of that and make sure we're approaching it with love and kindness and with patience and goodness with each other. And I know you'll get through both menopause and puberty like a champ. So I hope that was helpful to my viewers today. Enjoy everything. As always, follow me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all at LP Speak. You can go to my website at www.lpspeak.com. And as always, until next time, go be do.